So we talk about hiring your children in your bookkeeping and accounting firm. This video will be full of real life examples of real people in the bookkeeping and accounting profession who have hired their own children. The first thing we're going to do is go through some crowdsourced ideas about children working in your children working in your firm. And in the second, I'm going to tell you what I have personally actually hired this guy, my son, to do. He looks a little like me, eh? So my kids are 12, 11, and 10. They're not babies, but they're not independent yet. I'm trying hard to raise them to be hard workers and productive members of society and a productive member of this family. And my oldest is officially on my firm payroll. And if you are an entrepreneur in the accounting field, you certainly have heard about all the tax advantages for hiring your children. I'm not going to dwell on those details. You can find those details from a tax pro about the mechanics of doing this. Instead, we're going to talk about actual work that children can do. A quick disclaimer, if all you are looking for is validation of some ideas about paying your babies because you took some pictures of them and put them on social media, you can hit up some other video. That's not what this video is about. This video is going to focus on the real work that can help your business, and you can teach them and connect with them in a meaningful way as y'all are working together. All right, so let's first start with our crowdsourced ideas. Here is the link to the community thread. You can click on this below. It's in the description of this video. There's lots of great ideas. There's too many to share exactly, so read them on your own. I'm going to pull out a few though. Right here, Melody says, my daughter is 10, so I have her clean the office, pull bank statements, and save them to the correct client folders. She pulled mortgage statements to enter principal, escrow, and interest payments. And here, Jamie says, my daughter watches recordings of internal meetings with the sound off and grabs screenshots for our annual year-end review presentation. On this list, there are several folks who chimed in with either receipt scanning or paper shredding. And the high-tech version of that is right here. Jasmine says that her 11-year-old reviews receipts and marks them as reviewed on Divvy, the app Divvy. Now, I don't do any of that receipt management kind of work in my firm for my clients, but I know many firms that do receipt management, and you could have a young person easily do that. Maybe you go ahead and add that as a service specifically because you have a young person who you want to hire to do this work, your own kid. Here, Donna says that her son manages her IT and produces her podcast, and then she goes on to state that she learned most of these skills from something called YouTube University, which I checked out. Looks pretty cool. And I love this one. Lindsay shared how her tip was to really play to your children's strengths. So she had originally hired her children for certain jobs, and apparently they were really terrible at those jobs, so she fired them. And that's a funny story, but then she goes on to say that she was able to put them in better positions, and she shared this. She said, I rehired my 11-year-old as my social media account assistant. She's amazing. She has become a Canva and Meta Business Suite guru, learning shortcuts and new tricks. She takes my content that I purchased from Social Accountant and personalizes it and schedules the posts. She's become conscious of what pictures fit our brand and how to edit the brand voice, and particularly likes crafting posts for these random holidays. It's been a great learning experience for both of us. I love that. I love that, love that. I also really appreciate Tamra's post because it has a bit of a homeschool element to it, which I think is really kind of the ultimate synergy here. Not just working to pay your child or working to get stuff done, but really trying to think about how can you pour yourself into your child because you're an entrepreneur. And so she writes this. She says she has her child read out info to me and check and quiz her on math. I think that's great. And then she can staple receipts to invoices, stamp things. She does say that her kid always owes her money, so I'm not sure how to handle that exchange of cash between the employee and the employer when the child owes the parent money, though. But I appreciated that her child could do the work right next to her mother and just be learning and developing, and that's just a beautiful picture. So be sure to add your own ideas and any questions you have for some of these folks to this thread. If you're in the Facebook group, you can also add them to the YouTube comments below. By the way, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I greatly appreciate it. And if you appreciate what I do here at Bookkeeping Side Hustle Community, if you go to bookkeepingsidehustle.com/support, there are tons of free ways to say thanks. Definitely subscribe to my biweekly newsletter on Substack that comes out every other Saturday, and I pour my whole heart into that, and I build my business in public there. And you can read the whole archive. The link to that will be below. And then if you buy anything for your business, if you're going to start using an app or if you're going to buy a course to learn how to do stuff, there's a good chance I have an affiliate link for it. I don't like to sling my affiliate links just to get clicks, and so I much prefer it if you know you're going to use something, go to the support page and the links will be there, or just send me a DM and I will provide you the link if I have one. Now, for my own story, my own son, I haven't had him do any client work yet. But I'll tell you what I have had him do. And remember, I don't run a super traditional firm, okay? I'm niching in FreshBooks. I'm trying to have an office hours membership for DIYers, so I'm not actually responsible for their books, that they are. And then I also do bookkeeping side hustle influencer work. So keep all this in mind as I give these. But I want you to be thinking about how you could still apply these ideas if you have a more traditional accounting firm or bookkeeping firm. So here's some things I've had him actually do. I have interviewed him on some of my videos. If I ever had an idea where I could make him a guest on my videos, I've added him in. I think you can pay a pretty handsome amount for performers in your marketing videos, so make it a family member, might as well, right? I've had him do very minor video edits on some private videos I have for my office hours members, so his video skills aren't great, but they're basic. So these are just more of like my library, and it's just all he's doing is adding text for titles, and he's adding some dates, and he's blurring out names because I thought maybe one day I could see like making them semi-public because the content is good even though they might not be that pretty. And then he can also make the thumbnail graphic for that are very, very simple. So he's using Camtasia to do that and has learned a little bit. And that's allowed him to do a project for school in Camtasia, a video editing project. And I have no doubt if I actually gave him more freedom, he could learn it quickly. I'm just a little bit of a control freak. So there's that. Another thing he does for me is he approves members of the Bookkeeping Side Hustle Facebook group. Now, you probably don't have a big group of accounting folks on social media, but can you think of any sort of community that you could create for your clients that maybe a young person could be able to help administer? And now here are some things that I'm planning on having him do, but he hasn't started yet. I'm going to have him send my killer T account mousepad to my guests on my interviews for Bookkeeping Side Hustle. And if I do any Christmas gifts, I'm going to start to have him fulfill those. If you do gifts for your clients, that could be a great thing that you could just make sure is doable by your child. And back to the Facebook group member approval, and think about how this could work if you just have a client audience. See, I want to be more strategic about having him message folks who ask to be in the group, who take the time to answer the questions. You all have to answer the questions, but some folks answer them in a very detailed way. And he's a smart kid, and he can understand, oh, this person could really benefit from this extra resource. So, for example, some people just say, hey, I'm just considering bookkeeping and want to learn more about it. Well, I have a perfect video for that person, how to find out if you even like bookkeeping video. And so he could, instead of hitting just accept, he could hit message first and send them the message saying, hey, this might be good for you. Some people say they're just looking for jobs. So he can share the Substack newsletter that has a job opportunities section in it. Every edition has job opportunities. So my thought is what I'm going to do is have him have a couple of hot keystrokes, and I use an app called Text Expander where I've created these keystrokes that then expand, whatever text I tell it to. And so I can write little short paragraphs that have the wording I want him to use to reply in those specific instances. Again, this is the influencer side of my business, but can you tweak it for your own firm context? Maybe sending some resources to prospects that you've tagged for him. If you have an intake form and a certain answer, a question gets answered a certain way, maybe that person gets a certain kind of a response, and a child could possibly do that. And the number one skill I need him to develop right now is learning how to type. It is really hampering what I can have him do for me. He goes to a no technology school, so we're a bit behind on the typing skills. So this summer, my firm, Heritage Business Services, will be providing some professional development to its staff in the form of online typing training. And next summer, I hope to provide him with some more professional development opportunities in the form of becoming the youngest certified FreshBooks accounting partner by taking that FreshBook training. And I will pay him for learning those skills so he can start to do more and more in my actual firm. All right, so before I talk about how I actually pay him, like actually transfer money to his bank account, I want to ask you to comment which of these ideas that you think you might implement. Which idea inspired you to get started by hiring your child? Let's keep this conversation going on the Facebook thread if you're in the group, or right here on YouTube. So how do I pay him? Some of you are going to roast me because it's not so maximizing tax efficiencies, but here's my story. So, after about 3 years into my business, I was making enough money where I thought it made sense to become an S Corp, to make that S Corp election. And I think I'm still happy about that decision. And my income has continued to increase. So I know that there's a lot of tax savings that I'm getting, but it does complicate paying him. I can't just shove cash his way anymore. So he's on my actual firm payroll. And I know that I can create like a management company and pay him out of that company, but that sounds like a headache. And it's more of the admin stuff that I really detest. I know my personality and I don't like that. And I would probably not do all the requirements well. So at this point in my life, with military moves to different states and wanting to devote the majority of my time to my kids, I just don't care about that stuff. If that is what gets your motor going, though, then please figure out the real maximizing tax efficient way to do this. Form that management company to pay your children. But I run his payroll via Gusto, my free Gusto account, which all accountants have access to. And speaking of affiliate links, if you ever want to use Gusto, if you ask me for my referral link to Gusto, we both actually get a referral commission on that. And accountant users get free payroll for their firms. And here's where it gets really interesting. Even though I run payroll for him, he only gets to keep half of what I pay him. We have Gusto set up so that it auto drafts half to his Greenlight bank account, and then we have the other half go straight to Vanguard to a Roth IRA. I made a video about 3 ways that I think parents can think about Roths for their kids. And I think if you, especially as you get more financially secure, if you have a way to start like thinking of ways to transfer that wealth and using your business as a way to pay your kids and get them money, send money from your business to them, making them start a Roth account is amazing when you think about how much it could grow because they're starting so young. So the 3 ways I talk about in that video, the number one is called the parent match. Number 2, I call the 100% parent gift. And number 3 is what I call the burner Roth account. And that burner Roth method is getting pretty ninja from a parenting perspective and from a family wealth perspective. I'd love it if you watch that child's Roth IRA video, the 3 ways to form a Roth for your child. I'm going to link to that video below. That video is hosted on my client-facing FreshBooks channel. But thinking about things like that gets me real excited. All right, please comment on this video, subscribe if you like it. Go forth and figure out ways that being a bookkeeping entrepreneur can be part of how you raise your children. Most people are not entrepreneurs, and you are. And that's a real gift for your family. Take advantage of this unique aspect to form and mold and educate your children to be amazing adults, because that's the most important thing that you can do. All right, adios for now.